So the first thing we're going to do is talk you through the shawarma spice mix that you're going to marinate your chicken in. So here we have 3/4 of a tablespoon of ground cumin. At the front we have 3/4 of a tablespoon of ground turmeric. We also have 3/4 of a tablespoon of ground coriander. At the front we have 2 large cloves of garlic that have been finely chopped. We've got 3/4 of a tablespoon of smoked paprika. We've got 3/4 of a teaspoon of ground cinnamon, and we've got 1/2 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. And we're going to mix all those together and then prepare our chicken. So this is the chicken we're using for our shawarma. I decided to go with chicken thighs because the thighs will have more taste in them, and they'll also have a little bit more fat so they won't get dry. So we have 900 grams in this family pack of boneless chicken thighs, and this will be enough for 4 to 5 people. Plenty for 4. You could probably get 5 out of that. Here is one of the chicken thighs. I'm going to show you how to cut it up, but first I want to trim off just a little bit of the excess fat. And once we've trimmed off a little bit of the excess fat, I'll trim a little bit more of that fat just here. Okay, but you do want some of the fat left in. Now we would just want to cut it into strips that are about 2 inches long and about 1/2 inch thick. Just make sure there's no sinew in there. If you think there's a little bit more fat than you want, you could trim a little more of the fat off. So you want pieces like that, and then just drop them straight into the spice mix. Now I've mixed all the spices together and given it a good stir, and then I'll obviously work all the chicken into the spice mix to make sure that all the spices get evenly mixed. So we're going to cut all the chicken up like this. Now obviously when you get to a flat piece, you want to cut it a little wider because it's not very thick. So in this pack we had 8 thighs, and we're going to cut them all up, and we'll have plenty for 5 people. So besides cutting off most of the fat, you also have to look out for little pieces of sinew. This is where the muscle connects to the bone. Make sure you don't leave any of those in any of the thighs. This is the only one I found in the whole pack, but just be aware that they could be in there when you're cutting up your thighs into pieces. So we're just about done, and we'll just toss the chicken over really well. Make sure that all the pieces of chicken get some of the spices on. So now we have our spices all mixed into our chicken. We're going to add olive oil, we're going to add some onions and the juice of 1 lemon. So we have 4 tablespoons of olive oil. We have 40 grams of white onion that are finely sliced, so we're just going to spread that out. Make sure we get all of that olive oil, and then we'll squeeze our lemon juice in, and then we'll mix all the olive oil and the lemon juice and the onions into the chicken. And then we're going to marinate our chicken shawarma mix for at least 3 hours. So before I get my hands dirty and mix the chicken, we're going to add a little bit of salt and pepper, sea salt, black pepper, and then we'll just give it a good mix. So you get some of that lemon juice and the olive oil on all parts of the chicken. That's great. Now we're going to marinate that for at least 3 hours. So the next thing we're going to do is show you how to make the tahini sauce that is going to be spread inside the pita bread before we put the chicken mix in once the chicken is cooked. Tahini, for those that don't know, is made from roasted sesame seeds. That's all it is. And this particular brand is a really good one. It's won awards. And when you get a natural tahini that doesn't have any artificial additives in it, you may find on the shelf that it's separated the oil, the natural oil that's in the sesame seeds, from the paste. So you just need to shake it or stir it well before you open up the jar. So here we have 130 grams of tahini paste. We've got 1 lime that we're going to squeeze the juice into. We've got 2 nice fat cloves of garlic, and we've got 15 grams of flat parsley that's chopped, but it's not too fine. And it's very, very simple. We're just going to mix all the ingredients together and then season it with some salt and pepper. So I've stirred my chopped parsley and my 2 cloves of garlic into the tahini paste and squeezed the lime juice in. Now, if you're not familiar with tahini and how it reacts when you put a citric juice into it, it actually does thicken it up. So it's made it a much thicker paste, and we want it to be a little bit smoother than that. So we're just going to take some cold water, and I'm just going to measure it 1 tablespoon, 2 tablespoons, and we're going to stir this, and what we're looking for is just a nice smooth paste. So it may take a little bit more than 2 tablespoons, it might take 4, but we want it to be a nice sauce consistency, and it's a bit too thick at the moment. So we'll add another 2 tablespoons water. I think it's probably going to take 2 more tablespoons of water. So it's got a total of 6 tablespoons of water in there. And now it's getting to the sort of sauce consistency, smooth sort of paste that I want, so I can spread it inside that pita bread. Okay, so that's the sort of consistency we're looking for. Now we're going to just add some salt and pepper just to season it, and we'll check that the seasoning is good. A little bit of black pepper, a little bit of salt. Get myself a spoon, or stir that, because you always need to taste what you're making. And just take a tiny bit, and that needs a little bit more salt. And that's going to be good. Now, you need to make this ahead of time, because it'll give the chance while your chicken is marinating for that to sit in the fridge and all the flavours develop. So that'll be absolutely great. So now we're going to show you how to make a tomato and chilli topping that we're going to sprinkle on top of the chicken shawarma when we've got it into the pockets. So we've got 200 grams of plum tomatoes, we've got 50 grams finely diced red onion, we've got 2 green chillies that have been deseeded and finely diced. I'm just going to show you how to cut this up. It's really, really simple, and then we're going to probably use half a tablespoon of red wine vinegar and then a little salt and pepper. So I just wanted to show you how to cut the tomatoes up. Really simple, just cut them in half and then cut each half into 3 pieces. Really simple, not too small, nice bite-sized pieces like that. I'll just show you one more time. Cut it in half and then 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So to finish off our tomato and chilli topping, we've stirred the chillies in and we've stirred the red onions in. Add half a tablespoon of red wine vinegar, which will just help bring the flavours together. All it needs, just half a tablespoon, and then some salt and pepper. And then just give it a good stir and refrigerate it until we're ready to use it. So our chicken shawarma has now been marinating in the fridge for for over 3 hours. So we're going to start the cooking process. So there are several different ways you can do this, but the way I want to do it is I'm going to split the mixture in half, pan fry it to get a little colour on it, and then transfer it to the baking tray I have behind, and we're going to finish it off in the oven. But you need to make sure that the pan is hot first. You don't need to add any oil to the pan because there's already oil mixed into the chicken. So we want to make sure that the chicken is evenly distributed in the pan, so it's not stacked on top, because we do want to get colour onto the chicken. We want to get it lightly brown, get some caramel notes into the flavour of the chicken. Now remember, you've got 900 grams of chicken here, so you will need to do this in 2 or 3 pans. And you don't want to pile it up, otherwise it won't go brown, it won't fry, it will just steam. So that's about all that we want to get in there. We've got to be a little bit patient, and remember, we're not looking to totally cook it in the frying pan. We're just looking to get some colour onto it and then transfer it to the baking tray, and we're going to finish it in the oven. I've preset my oven at 190 degrees Celsius. So the chicken has been in the pan now for about 3 minutes, and we've got it on a high heat, and now we're just about starting to turn the chicken over. You can see a nice little bit of colour on that one. So remember, we're not trying to get it fully cooked in the pan, we're just getting a little bit of colour to it before we transfer it to our baking tray. Make sure you turn every piece of chicken over and make sure it's as spaced out as it can be. So we'll just give it now another 2 minutes in the pan just to get a little bit of colour on the other side. We'll take this chicken out and then we'll fry the rest. So we've given the other side about 3 minutes, and now we're going to take the chicken out. Quickly take it out and place it on your tray. Remember, you want to get all the onions, everything out onto the tray. And do it as quickly as you can, and then we can ready to fry the rest of the chicken. So repeat the process. Remember to keep the chicken spread out. And make sure we get all the onions in there. So this second batch of chicken, I'm just checking now to make sure it's brown on the other side. Probably needs just one more minute, and then we can take it out, put it onto our baking tray. So you can see the chicken is nicely browned, but it still needs a little cooking in the oven. So we'll now start to take it out. We'll turn the heat off on the pan, and we'll put it onto our baking tray together with all the onions. We want all those onion flavour to be cooking with the chicken. Right, and we're going to put this onto the tray. So we have all our chicken spread out on our pan, on our baking tray, and we're now just going to put it into the oven for about 5 or 6 minutes just to finish off. Remember that we have the oven at 190 degrees Celsius. So while the chicken is finishing in the oven, I wanted to talk for a moment about what we're going to put the chicken shawarma into. You can use any flatbread, but I decided to use pita breads, and I wanted to try to find one with some flavour. And I found this new soft pita breads by Warburton's, and I've tried them and I quite like them. They are a little bit on the large size, but at least they have some flavour. So if I just show you, I'll move those out of the way. we'll just take a paring knife and we'll just gently run the paring knife down the edge and inside to open the pocket gently up. Just going to tease it open to make sure the pocket's nice and open like that. Next, we'll move the paring knife out of the way. We're going to take some of the tahini, and we want to put some of the tahini inside. And it's probably good if you've got a palette knife. If not, then use a spoon. Just spread that tahini mix on both sides. And it's ready for the chicken when the chicken comes out of the oven. Once we've got the chicken into the pocket, then we're going to top it with our tomato and chili salad, and we're going to then add a little bit of colour by sprinkling a little bit of chopped rocket on the top. So we're now had the chicken out of the oven, and you can see from the gauge of my temperature probe that we have 79 degrees Celsius, so it's properly cooked and ready to serve. We'll test another piece just to make sure. 77, 78, yep, that's really good. So this is another reason why I've got my food handler's gloves on, because I can just pick the chicken up with my hands and just stuff the pocket. Get plenty of chicken in there, and then we're going to add some of the tomato salad. So you got lots and lots of colour there. Make sure you got some onion as well, and give that a bit of a stir in there. So you've got some onion and chilli, and then we're just going to sprinkle a little bit of the rocket on the top. As I said, these pockets are a little bit on the big side, but absolutely delicious. We'll do that one more time. So we gently open our pita pocket up again. It's got the tahini on the inside. And we'll just take some chicken, put some chicken in there. You see all that moisture and all that flavour, all those spices, how delicious this is. Some of that tomato and chili salad. Stir it in a little bit so get some of those tomatoes to go to the bottom. And then a little sprinkle finally of the rocket. Delicious, absolutely delicious. So here we have our finished chicken shawarma. Absolutely delicious, spicy chicken, and stuffed with spices, tomatoes, chilies, olive oil, rocket. Absolutely packed with flavour. Enjoy.